We've been rattling on and on for 15 minutes. We weren't not here.
Well, you missed a hell of a show.
Well, hey, you know what? With all the history the Yankees have been making, like these past few weeks with little things, we're making history, Lynn. We just
Oh my
rattled on
goodness.
for 15 minutes.
Oh my goodness. And my phone started blowing up. Hey, Karen, thank you. I saw you called, and then I see you in the chat. I'm going to call Lynn and see what's going on. I'm like, I'm right here. What are you talking about? See, Michael commented, I can't wait around forever. Are we going to get started soon? Oh boy. Oh boy. Well,
I was like, what is he talking about? I actually thought, okay, because at first, so we can get into this here in a minute because we're just going to reel it back here.
It's a great dress rehearsal.
Yep, we're going to start over, but we were talking about Memorial Day a little bit there for a minute. And so I thought Michael was like, are you going to get started? Like, I was like, well, geez, first we need to acknowledge.
Anywho, I hope we're not making you late for any event. Hey, everybody in the chat. Wow. Are you guys legends or what for hanging in here? Because none of you have left. And cared enough to send out I guess by now, because you know that Lynn and technology, and it's been a while since there's been a bad one. So, here it is. So may that be the end forever. Let's start with the trivia question of the week. Spencer, thank you for your audio text. Just got that as well. No, nothing wrong. Yes, there was something wrong on our end, Spencer. I know you're not surprised. And so here's the question. Earlier this week, the Yankees and Mariners split a 4-game series. If you were a Yankee fan back in 1995, you may remember that they met then for the ALDS. You should also remember the Yankees lost that series after this Seattle Mariner hit a double, sending a runner home for the win. Who was that Mariner batter and who was the Yankees pitcher? I'm going to let you take a minute and soak that in. We're going to give you the answer at the end, but put some answers in the chat like you like to do. Any thoughts, Jonna? I would have been stumped if I didn't have the answer already.
Well, I mean, I want to touch on what we were talking about when we were not live, which was Spencer is a human encyclopedia, and we really appreciate him. He always has excellent questions. And yes, so thank you, Spencer, for contributing the best trivia questions.
Yeah,
as far as the sorry.
No, go.
Yeah. The kid was going to be my prediction on the batter. As far as the pitcher, though, I cannot think of who.
So D-Rod and Michael both say Jack McDowell. And in terms of the Mariner, we're seeing Griffey, we're seeing Edgar Martinez. Those seem to be the two answers so far. So really stellar guesses, and perhaps really stellar answers, and we'll let you know at the end. So thanks for that. And FJ is saying Esteban Loaiza and Edgar Martinez. Wow, I forgot about Loaiza. If he had a G in that name, it almost would have been like Loaizaga.
I know. I was thinking that too. I was like very, very close to Loaizaga.
Yeah, and then if he also guessed Edgar Martinez. So okay, that's awesome.
I mean, I do have to say, I was like 6 years old then, so if I feel like I should get a pass for not knowing this one.
Did you really have to say that you were 6?
I mean,
yeah, I was not 6. There was basically a number 3, but not, no, I wasn't that old, but I was in my early 30s. Yeah, I was 31 in 95. So anywho, so then let's just move on then. So let's just breeze through the week so that we could get to the heart of the matter. Let's talk about Mariner time for a minute. How we kicked off the week. We were at a 7-game winning streak going in, and then we got schooled yet again. And I think I said it on the show last week. We got to keep managing our expectations. And there a lot of us were thinking, oh, this shouldn't be such a bad, such a struggle. But turned out to be right. We all know that now. We split. And so, but there was definitely some highlights there. You want to let's focus on heel.
Yeah, I mean,
for a minute.
First I want to say too, though, like it's a sprint, it's a marathon, not a sprint, right?
Mhm.
And so if we can keep going on these little like win streaks, and we have a little hiccup here and there, like Clay Holmes was bound to have his his off night, and that's fine and that's fair, and I think he'll come back stronger from it. I always think, when I was a competitor, like when I was a high school athlete, I always thought, like, you didn't realize it at the time, but like my dad was a coach, and so he would always like instill this in us that when you have those like hiccups, that teaches you there's always lessons to be learned there, and if you don't have like those little hiccups along the way, you don't learn from it and you kind of take it for granted. So I think it's a good thing that we have those little things that we can learn from throughout the year. But yeah, if we can keep going on these little stretches. So again, like we're on a 4-game winning streak now, after that, so keep it going. Yeah, keep it going. But back to heel. So I was saying earlier, I coined the term, he's healing and dealing, which
Love it.
I think I need to make a shirt out of that, because
and I'm announcing that it's trademarked. It's patent pending.
He's been incredible, and Lynn, you made a really good point, which is like, every week he continues to build his sorry, I'm really blanking on some.
He's maturing in front of our eyes.
Yeah, he really is. And like, I think that he, in the beginning, he would have some moments where he'd get a little rattled, but like, it seems like he's coming back even better and stronger from those. And, he said a couple weeks ago that he's learning a lot from Garrett Cole. So, and I mean, I know I've mentioned this and I like will just beat it to the death, but every week, but Garrett Cole is, obviously he's contributing in so many ways outside of being on the field. And that's one of them. I think like if they can tap into learning everything they can from him at this point, like I think that's what they all want to do.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And Lori, you're saying we're 20 games over 500 without Cole, and yeah, and not only that, but I shared when you guys weren't listening to us before we came on for real, that Yankees are in first place in all of Major League, per Statcast, and so that's for both pitching and hitting. And I read something from Curry last night that we're still on pace for 111 wins, in spite of what happened, with that split with the Mariners. So, and at the worst, we're not. At worst we've won, and we're about to sweep the Padres. So, I think we are on a very good pace. It is a marathon, not a sprint, and they could jog a bit because their pace is turning out just right. And so yeah, heel has been exciting, and we've never had to talk about more good things about our pitchers. Maybe since 1995, it feels like it.
Right. Yeah, I mean, collectively, our pitchers, all the pitching staff right now has a 2.78 ERA, which is the best by quite a ways. The Phillies behind us at 3.11. So it's like it just feels incredible. And I said this too before we went live. Lori, I will get you a link for my merch. So sorry for derailing us there. But I did say before we went live, where was I going with that? I'm sorry, guys.
We said so much before we went live.
I was saying, like, in the last like few years, well, several years now, really, like, obviously we're Yankee fans and we're built to like think of, the end game, which is the World Series and making a playoff run. And we probably have all taken that for granted over the years, how many playoff runs we make. But I think in the back of our minds, we all knew, like, we just don't quite have all the puzzle pieces in that bullpen or in that rotation. And this year, like, I don't know, I don't think it's even a hot take at this point. Like, I think we have the pieces. I really do.
We definitely do have the pieces in all the right places. And Frank, we're going to get to what you have up there in just a second. But I do want to make note of the fact that there were some even for as amazing as they are, there are things that are extra notable, like Judge. After last night, he's the first player ever with 11 home runs and 12 doubles in a 20-game span in the history of Major League Baseball. So, tell me that you're already in Cooperstown before anyone votes for you to be in Cooperstown.
Yeah. Oh, and Len, the only other Yankee with more base hits in a month span was Joe DiMaggio.
Joe DiMaggio. Was that 20 games or more than 20 games? Is that the difference?
In a 1 month span.
Okay. Yeah. So Judge must have a bit of an edge on DiMaggio, I would assume. Then, but yeah, Joe DiMaggio came the closest. I mean, I'm taking Curry's word for it, but
and he's homered in 4 straight games now.
Yeah, so that big concern about Judge being cooked and fried and sit him down is long gone, I think. And then we have Volpe with his 17-game hitting streak. Actually, 18 now. It's 18 now. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So no concerns there. I know that there was concern about him in the leadoff being part of why he was in that, for him, well, it's a really big slump. Wasn't Glaber epic, but for him, it was a big slump. So what do you think about that, Jonna? And what was it that made him finally spark?
I mean, I don't know what made him finally spark. Like, I mean, it could have been something to do with moving him to lead off, I guess. I'd like to know what others think about that. Like, if that had anything to do with it, or was it just a coincidence that, because, I mean, I don't know, like, he had some hot streaks to begin the season too. And so he's had like a few, I don't know, weeks, I guess you could say, where he's not necessarily like slumping, but not keeping up with that pace, which is bound to happen, right? But then, like, it seems like he goes on another hot streak. So I don't know if it's coincidence or if it has something to do with being in that leadoff spot. But I will say, like, the success of Soto, Judge, and Stanton, I don't think comes without Volpe as leadoff. Like, he's getting on base. They're pitching to, like, it's just he's a game changer. He's the spark plug.
Yeah, definitely. And of course, now with DJ getting seemingly closer and closer, and we've discussed this ad nauseum, so we could gloss over it. Tori, listen to me. I'm still stuck at 95.
I mean, I would love to have Tori back.
Me too. I would take Girardi back also. Boone won't say that DJ's not going to be the leadoff when he gets back. And so, but let's just, before we go to the injuries, because everyone's bringing that up as, the big concern. And you know what? I'm not okay with that, because I don't want guys to be injured ever. But right now, it's really our only concern.
Yeah.
And let's just breathe that in like oxygen. So like you're saying, that trio, which you mentioned that they're being called the triple threat everywhere now, and they are. I mean, they took Darvish to school.
Yes.
They took him to school and church on Friday night.
School and church. I love that.
I mean, he had entered with 25 scoreless innings pitched.
Yeah, I know. Okay, so two things to mention there. Judge and Stanton are now 37. The Yankees are now 37-4 when Judge and Stanton homer in the same game. But something, again, like this has been my theme lately, something flying under the radar. So keep an eye out for this. When Soto, Judge, and Stanton all homer, we're 2-0. So now we have a new stat to keep track of.
Wow. Okay. So if they do it again today, 3-0.
Yes. So
I
keep
did
an eye
math,
on that. That's a
Karen.
new thing we can keep our tabs on.
Okay. Because I think everyone's thinking, I need more stats to keep track of and memorize. But
I
I'm
mean,
happy.
I can't keep up lately. It's been Judge does this and first time in history this and Volpe this. It's a lot.
Yeah.
All
And
good things.
Torres gets an honorable mention for his home run. Any little blip from Glaber is a blip in the right direction. And Rodon, elite, neat and elite, and a really tight fade haircut.
Yes. But
That
on the topic of Rodon, Lynn, I want to ask you, do you feel like it was like a bit of a blessing in disguise for Rodon to have Cole out right now, like to help him kind of come into his
that's interesting.
yeah, because he was kind of used to being like the top dog, right? And he came in and had to be in the shadows of the Cy Young last year's and I mean, he was new here and I just would love your thoughts on that.
That's such an interesting question, because until you asked that, I thought it was all about, his where his head was at, and also attached that, obviously, the injuries that came with him when they signed him. And then, don't worry, he's all better now, and you're gonna have the ace that he's always been. I'm not gonna go down that road. But he came back, and we all know what he did for himself and with himself over the what do they call it before the season? The preseason. And yeah, I think it's maybe more so than Cole. It's about wanting to prove himself to himself and to the fans. I
Yeah.
think that the last time I spoke to him, I probably shouldn't say this because it was confidential, probably. But last time I spoke to him, he said that he was embarrassed. And so I think he's a competitor. He's a major league pitcher,
Yeah.
and an ace of a one on record. So he had to have felt mad at himself and embarrassed that he got on baseball's biggest stage and
Yeah.
had the season he had.
I think
So
there was a lot, probably a lot of factors, right? I think you're nailing it on the head with the pressures that come with coming to New York, right? And also being in Garrett Cole's shadow, being the new guy,
right.
The vibes were definitely not what they are now. And I mean, he said it himself, just this last week that he feels at home here now and he feels very comfortable here. And I know we've talked about it on this episode before, Lynn, but the wives are even doing stuff outside of here, Kate, and Kate and Cole getting invited to the Rodon's little girl's birthday party and just seeing that stuff. I think that stuff all contributes a lot to it. Like if they feel like, family, they're on the road together all the time. And yeah, I think maybe this year too, just not being the new guy anymore is making it better for him. I mean,
Right.
he made a lot of adjustments too, like,
Right.
physique and
Yeah.
physically.
Yeah. And reportedly a lot of just, mental and emotional, health as well, to just
Yeah.
get himself centered again. And you got to sympathize. He was a big fish in his pond, and he came here and he was no longer the bigger fish, to your point, and we aren't exactly the kindest crowd.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, he is just, now I understand. I'm not ready to apologize to Cashman, but now I understand. And I'm happy we got what they paid for. And so Friday he went scoreless, and that was a great shutout from him, shut down from him for the innings he was in. And then, let's talk about, while we're on pitchers, let's just go to Stroman, who is another guy that I didn't expect to, I'm just in love with him now. I'm just in love with everything about him. I want his jersey, but I don't want him to have number 0 because he's not a 0.
Yeah.
I want to put like another 1 and 0 before that maybe. But he just, even in, again, it's a lesson in judging books by its cover, and also by what the media puts out there.
For
Because,
sure.
and I was ready for, all of that, macho arrogance. And there hasn't been a minute of it. And, his interviews have been so thoughtful. A really nice interview with him and Meredith last night. And he was just also elite last night. 6 scoreless again, like, Rodon and him both. And he has what's also great about Stroman, and this is something that I'm still learning, is how to like name each pitch as they're
Yeah.
coming in. And that's one of my goals this season. But he has just about every pitch. And what was happening at first, because it was got bumpy there for him, especially, but hey, when he got that guy out on third that hit the triple,
Yeah.
that was amazing.
Yeah.
And but he was like, he had gotten himself in this thing of, I'm just gonna use them all until one of them sticks. And but then Curry was saying that his cutter and sinker were what really did guys in. So that's something to note about him. So I'm just I'm
Yeah.
I'm just mad about him.
I think, I don't know. Oh yeah, the strike zone said to give credit to Matt Blake, and I think that's prime example right there of a place to give Matt Blake credit. I think he hones in on those things. Like this is where you need to focus right now. We're not going
Right.
to use everything in the arsenal, but let's hone in on like what's working. And
That's right.
hopefully they can do that with Nestor a little bit too, and figuring out what is it that he does so much better at home. Um, but I think Nestor is also trying to figure that out. Like he's making a concerted effort to figure that out.
Yeah, Nestor to me is the Glaber of pitching. I think,
I
like,
like, yeah, that's the sore point.
like, and also from the advantage of, he has it in him, and you see glimpses of it, but he just hasn't been consistent. And right, to me, and because there have been some remarkable defensive plays by Glaber. And you're
Yeah,
like, where the hell did that come from? And why can't you do that every time? So he has it in him. And same with Nestor. But
I
just
think that's true.
just
Yeah,
all cylinders aren't clicking. And and like Strike Zone was saying about Matt Blake, and the other pitchers, I think the same for Nestor. So I hope so, because we're going to see what happens when Cole's back.
Yeah.
As we've talked about ad nauseum.
Did you
So
hear,
go ahead.
sorry. Did you read what Talkin' Yanks put out last night, which was the Nestor has the worst, obviously, ERA on the Yankees in the Yankees rotation, but if he were on any other team, I'm not any other team, he would have the best ERA on 8 teams in MLB. So, like, even though he's a sore point for us, we're kind of blessed here that that's like our one complaint, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's true, and we should keep counting those blessings, and and he's still not he's not unworthy of being in the starting rotation. And even if he has to go to the bullpen, because they decide to just stick with this 5-man rotation, it's not out of unworthiness. Just like it hasn't been for other. I mean, Weaver was the starter for a hot second, and now he's like one of the kings in the bullpen. It just happens. So, but I wanted to just take a pivot because it was mentioned on the injuries from the week, because a few of you guys in the chat mentioned as long as they stay healthy. And but it's gonna keep happen. It's gonna happen. I mean, that's baseball, right? So we definitely we lost two birdies.
Yes. Two birdies down.
So you can get 2 birdies with 1 stone.
I was thinking it. You said it. I love that.
Oh, I'm so sorry that you think like me sometimes. I apologize. But anyway, I got a dad, but clearly a dad joke, but I'm clearly not a dad. So yeah. So what do we think? So Birdie, I think the infielder Birdie's is now it's a left calf strain, which seems to be slightly more of a concern. Am I right about that? Than what it was originally thought after the MRI?
Yeah, it sucks. And it sucks for him. Like, I feel for him so much because he was vying for a job, right? Like, with DJ coming back, I mean, they've been pretty open about DJ's going to be the everyday third baseman. So then what do we do with Cabrera? Like, I think Birdie was vying for the job, right? And
Yeah.
sucks for him because now it's like pretty much the writing's on the wall. Like, I don't know how you come back from that. And yeah, who knows how long he's going to be out. He looks to be in very, like, a lot of pain. So
yeah.
Yeah.
And that was just terrible. Who else gasped when he fell, leaving the plate? I just, yeah. That was just. How often do you see that? I don't think I've ever seen somebody tumbling right out of the box like that. So anyway, hopefully this 10-day injured list will be all it is, but we don't know about that. And they brought up Kevin Smith, brought him back up. So, because I guess he had the options. I don't know why else they would bring up Kevin Smith, but maybe I'm alone in that.
Yeah, I didn't really get that either.
Yeah. And then the Birdie pitcher, that's 15-day with right hip inflammation. So, these are all light words: strain, inflammation. Commercials tell you take some bear back and body. Take so so to me that's like, okay, is that really that minor? Probably not. And then so we have Gomez back up, because
which he did a phenomenal job the other night.
Yes.
He really did.
Yeah, he really did.
Yeah.
And then did I read that DJ was transferred to the 60-day IL?
Yes. So yes. But there's a caveat there. So it was like a manipulation thing. So they put him on the 60-day but it doesn't change his expected return date of May 28th. So
Oh,
it all that did was free up a 40-man roster spot
okay.
for
It was one
Kevin
of those
Smith.
things.
Yes, because
Yeah.
they needed to temporarily fill him in for Birdie, and then yes, he still has the same expected return date. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Good to hear. Yep. And if he's saying the same. Um,
It's
so
interesting though, like I don't know, Lynn, have you been paying attention to his outings with like when he was with the Renegades and now he just had his first game with the Patriots yesterday, I believe, but seems like they're only letting him go for like 3-ish. Like he's not playing a full game. So I don't know. Like I don't know. I don't know what's the scoop there, but I feel very pessimistic about it.
yeah, that's kind of sus to me. I don't know why they wouldn't just, be putting him in the lineup for the game.
Yeah,
Then
it's like he's getting 2 at bats. He's going 1 for 2, like, or if like I think he was 0 for 2, but like had a walk last night. I don't know. It does seem very sus though.
yeah, and it's just another check in the box for Volpe staying where he is. Because I mean, when he comes back, is anyone gonna feel like he's back, baby? Even if he looks good from Jump Street, I mean, we have it in our heads now. And I just want him to get right.
It's
Um,
not if, it's when. You know what I mean? It's like how long is he gonna be like healthy or looking good?
yeah,
Because they've said that before, and then the next day thing you know, he's back to like on the IL. So I don't know.
right. And we're in the unusual position of being okay without him, just like
Exactly.
we've been more than okay without Cole.
Yeah.
So there's no reason, hopefully, for him to feel rushed. And
No, and no reason to like juggle up the
yeah,
lineup and yeah. There are some plays at third this year that like Cabrera's made and Birdie made that I'm like, I don't think DJ makes that play right now, like on his toe. You know what I mean?
yeah, I think you're right about that. Um, so let's do hot takes. So, all right, in the chat, this is the time when we want to throw down something controversial or spark a little reaction from people. It doesn't have to be controversial, but something that you might not be hearing from so many people. So, hot type of hot takes. All right, Jonna, what about you?
I have one. So this is probably a really hot take. Is that I think um I don't know. I'm hopeful with the way that our season is going right now. If we stay on this path, where could Juan Soto possibly want to go? He's not leaving. Why would he leave this? This is the best vibes in baseball. This is like the hottest team. You got Judge. You get to play next to Aaron Judge all day, every day, and like Giancarlo Stanton, and I mean, guys like yeah, exactly. The guys in the league really look up to him because there's a lot you can learn from him. Um, yeah, I don't know. People are like, oh, like unless it's like the Dodgers coming at him with like a shit ton of money, I just where could he possibly want to go? Isn't this as good as it gets?
Yeah, I'll take that heat. And I think that, well, you got agreement here. Lori says that, Lori says Juan Soto is hot. um, so NFE's hot take is Rizzo hits a home run today. Okay. I'll go for that. For sure. So what's my hot take this week? My hot take this week is that Toronto may have to be watched at some point. I know that they're tied with the Rays basically statistically right now. Checked the numbers again when I was in Statcast this morning. They're in the bottom of the division. But the bats are heating up. I've read for Vladdy Jr. and Bichette in particular. And if the mentality of there goes one, there goes the rest, the two key guys heating up and heating up big, particularly Vladdy Jr., we might see some momentum building up in Toronto. And so that's my hot take. It'd be easy to dismiss them but they've always been a thorn in our side. Let's face it. Even when they're not doing well, they still tend to show up for us. So yeah, I think we need to keep an eye, particularly for their offense, on Toronto. That's my take. Hey, Uncle Tad's made it off the boat. Okay. Good to see Uncle Tats. Thanks. Uncle Tats, if you have a hot take, put it here in the chat. And so the next thing we want to talk about is something that I don't think we have a slide for yet, but we're gonna, because they keep happening. A moment called awe.
There have been so many awe moments, yes.
And Donna, how do you want to define the awe segment for the chat and our listeners afterwards?
I mean, there are things that we see in the media or like social media. I don't know if you guys follow Amy Cole on Instagram, but like she always has awe moments, you know. The one I had like several weeks back, and I mentioned it earlier in this podcast episode, but like Cole's kids and Rodon's kids like getting together for a birthday party, like things like that. The night that the Yankees had their homecoming dinner, the wives they put on like a fancy dinner, and so the wives were all did their own thing, getting together. And I think that's like huge. I think all of that like contributes to the success of the team. Like if it's the family vibe, right? So those are all moments, and we both have one for today, or one or two for today. So
yeah, absolutely. So my awe moment is there was an article, and it's that did you know that Doogie, Judge, and Soto have been playing a game during pitching changes with the right field and left field bleacher fans? And the contest is which side can make the most noise, and they'll toss balls to the side with the most noise. And to me, that is just awe and cute in the sense of, first of all, they're doing it because they're buds. I mean, they're triple threat. We should be scared, but we don't have to be scared because they're ours. But but they are like, talk about cohesive, and the dynamic just jumps out at you. But the fact, and I give credit to Soto for this. Soto, from the minute he stepped out there, was all about the attention, and he knows it, and I'm not mad at that. But waving to the fans, talking to the fans, yelling things to the fans, and Doogie does that too. But and Soto's, and Judge is more laid back and reserved, but like it's just so cute that they're doing that, and to me, it's very old timey.
yeah.
It's like what you see in the movies, and what you see. I always talk about going to Keystone Park, or Keith Fan Park, whichever, in Coney Island. It's like during in between innings, the local appliance store wheels a dryer out onto the field, and a name's pulled for who wins it. Like all these stupid things. But I just, I just thought that was really cute.
I mean, it makes a huge difference, probably for them too. Like they're out there 162 games a year at least, right? And like they need to have fun too. They're away from their families like for part of that, and Yeah, like
Yeah,
they probably have to find little ways to make it entertaining and fun for them too. So,
absolutely.
and like you mentioned, like Judge is so stoic and reserved, and Stanton is the same way. And I like you can see these guys like coming up, like just creeping out a little more and more. Like I see a smile and you want to
I
smile, like
know.
these guys are all having fun, it seems like.
Yeah, speaking of Stanton, and one might think that my shirt says 27 for the number of rings I have, but it says I have me, me myself, the Yankees have. But this is for Stanton because I don't want to wear his number in the back. I want everyone to see it when I'm coming. So,
Yeah. And
because
one might also think, Lynn, that you bought that from like MLB.com, but Lynn made that shirt. So props to Lynn for that. It's
I did
incredible.
I did make it. However, like I told John, for some reason, I sized it wrong. It's down to my knees. I'm really not a crumpled mess, so I don't think it's going to see the public anyway. But
I think
anyhow,
it looks great. So
thank you. I was like, what the hell? What did I click? Anyhow, by the way, Tats, your hot take was that Stanton is going to be this great all year, or something of that mind. I'm with you. I'm with you 103,000% on that. All right. So I think we
can
are
I
at
give my sorry,
oh,
can I
that's right. You have a
quickly give
second
my
one,
awe
the best
moment?
one.
I think
Yes, yes,
everyone
yes,
needs to
yes.
hear this. Okay. But maybe if you were watching the game last night, you probably heard this, you maybe didn't, but they were saying on the broadcast last night that I think Meredith said it. So like Higgy's parents were in town for the series this weekend in San Diego, Volpe's mom, Schmidt's parents, I think maybe King's parents. Um, and so they all like got together in the Yankees dugout before the game. Like the parents were down in there catching up and all that. Like that's very odd to me because it's like, Higgy and King and so yeah, that was my own moment. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, yeah. I thought so. I guess I'll take the last one because the other one and Tats, another thing you have to teach me is how to like make a video work on here. But it was during batting practice when Caden Cole made his debut as a bat boy.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen the video, either Hoke or the Yankees or Curry's account has it. I think it's on loop. I think I sat there for like 10 minutes just watching it.
I
And
think
you hear
probably talking Yanks because I think Amy Cole
oh,
posted it on her Instagram and they will often reshare a lot of her stuff.
oh, okay. Yep.
But just
So none of
talking
the
Yanks.
list I gave you, talking Yanks. Listen to
No,
John from now on.
you're good.
But I was too transfixed on actually watching it. But it was just really cute and turn on the sound because you hear Cole saying, okay, and okay, come back now, and
Yeah.
oh my
And he
God.
was standing, there was a picture of him standing there, like with his hands on his hips, like assessing, the
That's
game and
the feeling.
everything. And so
Yeah.
I was like, I posted it on my Twitter
Yeah.
too, actually. And I was
Yeah.
like, this is Matt Blake's new assistant.
Uh-huh. 100%. I love it. Start them young. Start them young. So let's see. Jonna, is there anything we didn't cover that you wanted to toss out at the folks?
No, I mean, just keep plowing through the West Coast. And yeah, I'm excited to like hopefully we'll get the sweep today. And one thing that we didn't mention on when we went live, because we did mention this before we were live, but happy Memorial Weekend to everyone. And please take a moment to remember and, just be thankful for the reason why we have an extended weekend, which is all those who gave the ultimate sacrifice. So thank you to all who have served and to all those who have made that sacrifice. Yeah,
Yes,
just wanted to quickly
absolutely.
throw a plug in there.
Thank you for that mention. It's an important one. And so, hey, D-Rod, so your hot take is that Torres plays smart baseball and good defense. But then you took it all away by saying not holding my breath. I'm gonna say, it's hot only because it's inconsistent when it happens. But I think it was before you jumped on. We were saying, you see these moments and it's frustrating because you don't get to, see it all the time. 1 minute he's like a baseball IQ Mensa level, and the next minute it's like no IQ whatsoever, zero. So he's got it in him both on the field and in the box. And now that he's got some home runs under his belt, let's just hope that continues to ride. Jana, you have a reminder to post the link to your line of shirts that are absolutely amazing. I'll get some guidance from you on what size to select, so I can wear it. And if there's let's just conclude then with the way we always do. Here's the answer. So the question had been that when the Mariners stole the ALDS from us in '95, who was the batter that made the game-winning hit and off of whom? So, yep, congrats. There was a bunch of you. I don't want to miss anybody, but there was a bunch of you who said Edgar Martinez and a good amount of you that said Jack McDowell. So there you have it. And Jack McDowell had taken over for Mariano Rivera. So that's the story there with the trivia question of the week. And thank you again, Spencer. I know you're listening, and so thank you so much. And as always, everybody, like, share, follow. Sharing is caring. We love doing this every week. We love that you're here with us every week. And you're here every week must mean that you like us a little bit. So share us with your friends. Hit the link like for this show before you go. Subscribe to Pinstripe Chronicles, and that's our family. And you know how to follow Jana and me. Our never going to call it X. Our Twitter details are there, and the same for the Upper Deck and for Pinstripe Chronicles. Catch the Pinstripe Chronicle guys Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 10 a.m. Tats, tell us in the chat if there's a show tomorrow morning because it's Monday. I'm guessing not because I know there's fishing boats in the water. But, let us know in the chat if there's going to be a show tomorrow or not. And as always, thank you to my partner, Jana, and thank you for all of you for taking time out of your holiday weekend to be with us. And as always, you have a reserved seat with Jana and me right here on the Upper Deck every Sunday. Let's go, Yankees!
Go Yanks!